Just put on some headphones and jumped on my machine. And I'm cutting rough and it's coming up all nice and clean. My homie's right behind me and he got some stuff to spring. All together now. Let's maintain that turf today, that turf today, that turf today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Turf Today, presented by Toro and recorded on the Superintendent Network. This week, everybody, we are very, very excited to be joined by Marcus Harness, who is the superintendent at Sandpoint Country Club. My name is Adam Kershane, joined by Brian Laurent. Everybody, let's get right into this one.
I made it. Hey, what's up?
Busy day for you?
Just racing around, man, doing the normal stuff.
Something new every day, right?
That's it. Very similar to being on the golf course, right?
Yeah. It was very nice being out there today. We had a full crew, but 80% of our staff was in doing different things, and first cut on greens tomorrow, which is exciting. We're
nice.
Looking pretty good. You know, a couple of areas, like every year, there's a couple spots, but all in all, everybody's pretty excited about how things are looking, and I think we might be able to get around in next week, possibly.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, we're talking about opening in 10 days, so turf staff wants to play, a day or two before we open, which why not?
Heck yeah, you got to take it for a test drive. Why not?
Yeah. We had a couple new kids today. I was telling them about that. They're like, "Well, we actually get to play." I was like, "It's great because our superintendent doesn't play." I said, "I don't get to play all the time. So if you guys go out and play, you get to see different things on the course and things that golfers are actually thinking about or worried about or encounter." So it's perfect. And the guy's like, "Oh, that's great. Yeah, no, I can definitely do that for you."
That's awesome.
Love that part of it.
Flip of a switch for you guys now, huh?
Yeah, that's all everybody's talking about today. It's, oh my gosh, it's a summer day. It's so nice. Guys are out in t-shirts working and stuff like that. It's like,
Yeah.
last week, I finally got myself a monitor for this desk.
Oh, yeah?
Life changing.
Yeah. So just wait till you go. Have you gone dual monitor setup yet?
It's a widescreen, so I got a few different
nice.
things open here, and it came with like a swivel arm for the desk,
Yeah.
so it just move it all around. And I'm sitting here the other day, I set it all up, and I got one of the external trackpads, so I can just kind of sit here and play around on it. And I'm like, why haven't I not been doing this for years? Like, I just hunched over the little laptop all the time.
Oh yeah, dude.
For years,
it's a
I've
game
just been
changer.
using the little, keyboard and trackpad. So this is nice. I can just sit back and have it all laid out in front of me.
Nice, dude. I tried to get like the most powerful stuff there is just because of like the size of the files that I'm always working with. I ended up getting like the Mac Studio computer. I mean, it's just literally like a little cube that sits on my desk, but it thing's like insanely powerful.
Yeah. We had a lot of positive comments about Bubba. I think
he did great.
A lot of people either knew about him or really enjoyed the episode. Probably 7 people have reached out and asked if we have if he had social media, and I was like, it's pretty incognito. I don't think he's one of those guys.
Yeah.
So it's cool that people listen to these people's stories and want to get to know more about them or reach out and connect with them, I love that.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Connecting from the West Coast.
What's up, fellas? Trying to figure out my video right now. Is it cool if I try and sign out and sign back in real quick?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. One sec.
So Stanley Cup playoffs start tomorrow. It's pretty exciting.
That's it. I saw I did see some commercials starting to promote some games. So I forgot that season was wrapping up. I think the NBA season's wrapping up too.
Yeah, usually at the same time. I think the Stanley Cup's usually awarded before the NBA championship, but they play at the same time of year, right? So it all kind of happens together. Yeah, the NHL just ended last night, and they're going Saturday afternoon. Sens play tomorrow afternoon. So it's just quick turnaround. It's exciting.
Yeah. And then it basically, I mean, when do they actually wrap up? Like mid-May, late May?
Yeah, it's 4 rounds, depending on if all the rounds go 7 games and extend some of the series. Like they try and start everything as quick as they can, but it can be, May, June when it's over. And then it's tough because everything's over, right? There's no football. There's no No basketball, no hockey. It's just golf and baseball.
Yeah,
But that's when you're supposed to be spending your time outside anyways. So
exactly. Well, that's why I'm sure a lot of guys probably aren't too upset if they miss the playoffs because they can go play golf right away.
there is that. Yeah, there is that. I find it the perfect time of year because you can work, play golf, and still watch hockey at night. But the problem is some of the
Yeah,
late night games, or when they get deeper in the playoffs, they start them at 8 o'clock. So
I
to
know
stay up for
it's too
that
late.
and wake up for turf at 4 a.m. is that's tough.
No, that's why I like being on the West Coast a lot because once you get acclimated to that, a lot of games are starting at 5 or 6 o'clock. It's perfect.
So cool.
Stay
Yeah,
up, watch the whole thing, wake up on a Saturday morning, and games are on at noon.
yeah.
That's it's the absolute best.
Somehow it started working. So
Oh, there we go.
Hey,
There
look
we
at
go.
that.
what's happening, boys?
Did you try resetting it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah,
the parking
Yeah,
brake was on. Shit.
that's right.
right.
Turn it off and back on. It always
Oh,
works. Always works. What's going on, Marcus?
Oh, not much. Friday.
Friday
Long
Yeah.
week
morning.
air break. So I'm gonna try and
So
give you my best, but running on fumes.
I was going to say, I mean, Friday in this industry means really nothing, right? Because you're up and back at it tomorrow, anyways, aren't you? Unless you got a nice rotation with assistants or something.
Yeah, we do have a good team in that regard, but I think we were here till about 7 o'clock last night. Wrapping up dry jack, trying to take advantage of some good weather, punching tees. Yeah, it's go time now.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you guys Pacific Northwest? I mean, you stay semi mild for most of the year, don't you?
Yeah, we're definitely open 12 months out of the year. We'll probably get a total of 2 to 3 weeks worth of closures, whether it's intermittent frost or freezes. We will go sub-freezing for a little bit and we'll end up closing. But for the most part, we get some bluebird days and 100 plus people on the tee sheet in the middle of February, and we got to be ready to
Yeah.
rock and roll.
That's so cool, man. Well, Marcus, it's great to meet you. I was just telling Brian, you've been somebody we've chatted with since the start of Turf Today, and it's so cool to actually get to meet you via Zoom and get to, tell your story. And you got some really cool stuff too. We were going through your questionnaire and really excited to dig into things today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It is. I was thinking about it before hopping on. It was what you guys started right around COVID, or like right around the time I started my Instagram account for the club, and it was pretty cool seeing you guys explode. It's been fun to watch.
And you could attest to this, back, you give it 5, 6 years ago, there wasn't a lot of different accounts, turf accounts or greenkeeper accounts, different team accounts. So you've seen the growth, not just from Turf Today, but from everywhere, right? There's so much more out there now.
Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely if you're trying to watch, some dudes cut grass or throw some sand. There's some options out there now.
All the very intriguing stuff. I love it. So,
Right.
Marcus, we always like to kick these off by just giving you a moment to introduce yourself. So tell us who you are.
So Marcus Harness, golf course superintendent at Sandpoint Country Club in Seattle, Washington. We are in Seattle proper, about northeast suburb or neighborhood, if you call it, overlooking the lake. The club's been here since 1927, so coming up on our
Oh, wow.
centennial. Over the years, it's really gained its success by being the only true country club in the Seattle region. So offering all the amenities, tennis, swimming, great restaurants. It's a pretty happening place. So like if you're a younger family in particular, like that's the spot in Seattle compared to some of the other old school golf only clubs. 2018 kind of took on an initiative to elevate their member experience on the golf course, and we that's about when I came on, and we engaged in a full course remodel with DMK Design, and they put the resources behind it for them from an operating standpoint afterwards to kind of just get things going and sustain the machine that they built. So yeah, it's been good.
How much fun was it to work with DMK?
He's great. I mean, him and his associate Nick Sean are two of the best in the business. It's pretty impressive the vision that they have and the creativity and the collaboration. I mean, they're on the same page, and they really helped transform the property.
Yeah. Was it a blow up or did they just kind of take what was there and fine-tuned, tweaked some things.
It was as close to a blow up as you can get without blowing it up.
Yeah.
We completely rebuilt and blew up 2 par 3s, total of 10 greens. We redid all the bunkers, added 40 bunkers, renovated about 80% of the tee space. And then, the other big element of it is consistent with a lot of their other designs is just a lot of short grass additions. So we shaved, honestly, another 9 holes worth of golf course, added about another 9 holes worth of fairways to the existing footprint. And so, yeah, a lot of short turf to maintain, and it's fun.
That's fun on the budget.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Are the eyebrows on the bunkers a new thing?
Yep. They're cool. I think they have a great aesthetic. It's extremely hard, as you guys can imagine, to keep them thin, keep all the inputs and water away from them. So, I think it's a little bit of a love-hate for the members. They look great, but you don't necessarily want to ever go in them.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah,
they're hazards.
Yep, exactly.
Don't hit it there. I love it.
Intelli360 is a fleet management tool created by Toro that enables superintendents to track equipment, view its operation status, operating hours and maintenance needs, as well as create work orders. And now, for 2026, you can order parts directly from the platform. Plus, you can build some shopping and wish lists to streamline operations across your entire staff. To learn more, visit toro.com/Intelli360 for more details. Toro. Count on. So Marcus, you got to take us back here and walk us through this amazing career. Where I was saying to Brian, I don't know if we've had somebody on that's worked at 10 different golf courses. I think that's so cool. You must have drawn from so much different experience to bring you to where you are now. And so take us through your career, your life, kind of growing up and getting into golf.
Yeah, so I'm from the Pacific Northwest. I grew up on a little island called Bainbridge Island, which is a 30-minute ferry ride west of downtown Seattle. And that's kind of where it all started for me. A little 9-hole golf course called Meadowmere Golf and Country Club. I was lucky enough that my parents bought a lot on the golf course. And, for $60 a month, you got a membership there. And really, I became raised on a golf course out of playing golf at a very young age. My mom used to book tee times for me and my little brother as a babysitter because she had to go to work, and she knew
That's
that
awesome.
the old guy would, keep us in check if we were messing around. She'd hear about it. And so honestly, just got used to playing the game almost daily, just for fun. It was super casual. I grew up playing golf in a t-shirt and basketball shorts, so I still get a little uncomfortable, when I got to tuck my shirt in and all that jazz. But yeah, I mean, I want to elaborate on my first course because once you get to know that story, you get to know me a little bit. But because then we'd go out after golf and we'd play flashlight tag and hide and seek. And then, there's a payphone at the clubhouse that we would, start playing with late at night.
Oh, no.
What
was your go-to prank call?
Yeah, the operator.
Yeah.
That was about all we knew how to do. We didn't have any money to put it in the phone, but
we used to call it Hooked on Phonics. That was ours from the high school gym. We'd always prank call Hooked on Phonics. It was terrible. The nice, easy 1-800 number.
Yeah, exactly. Next thing you know, the cops are coming, and we just run and disappear into the golf course. And that, we know the golf course like the back of our hand. We could run around pitch black, moonlight, and that's when we learned mischief was fun. And so then from there, it turned to some ding dong ditching and all that jazz. And as we got older, still playing golf every day, but hanging out on the golf course at night. When you go to work in the morning, you find a pile of beer cans on the side. You're like, oh, somebody was having a good time last night. That was probably us. And from there, I hired on the crew at about 15, and the rest is kind of history. I fell in love with weed whacking pond edges and just the crew mentality or the team mentality and didn't really think of it as a career, but just a really enjoyable summer job. Just kept working, enjoyed the hard work, working outside. Would basically work all day, play golf till dark, cause mischief in the dark, do it again. There would be weeks at a time where I wouldn't even leave the neighborhood. And so I think, that just kind of just tells a story of like just how much I enjoy golf and the golf course and the community. It's just kind of who I am, and I just have a huge respect for the game. Being like a member, growing up as a member, golfer, employee, I think that's allowed me to be a little more tolerant to some of the shenanigans that take place on the golf course. But I think that the key is we knew the etiquette. We knew, we weren't out there trashing bunkers. We weren't, messing with the flag sticks or anything like that. And it's kind of very similar to like St. Andrews opening up as a park at night. Like if the community understands, you know, the etiquette and the spirit of the game, it's all good. So, that's kind of where I developed my passion. I went to Washington State. I got a turf degree there. When I finally did decide to enter the business and pursue it as a career, from there, I did some internships at some great private clubs in the Seattle area. Shot down to the Monterey Peninsula after college for about a year. Got some good experience, just, high-end private club. They were hosting the 2010 U.S. Open while I was down there. So it was fun to be a part of that. Shot back home, another list of golf courses, great mentors. Ended up spending 5 years at Sahali Country Club as a first assistant under Tom Hughesgan, one of the greats in the business. Had a lot of fun working for him, and then the rest is history. I'm here at Sandpoint, so it's been a ride. Learning along the way, working for great people. I think I'm still learning and growing, but yeah, it's been fun.
You mentioned a lot of those mentors that you had. Talk about what you took away from those individuals that play a big role in your leadership style now.
At an early age, I learned that like growing grass is kind of the easy part. You definitely need to know that. And so obviously everybody has their own style for managing a golf course, and you pick and pull some of those, tricks of the trade. But from like a leadership standpoint, that's where it's like been really beneficial to just pick and pull the pros, the positive characteristics from each different person and try and formulate my own leadership skills as a superintendent. They're the guys that are the super attentive, attention to detail, strict on all that type of X's and O's out in the field. And then, maybe not quite as easy to work for. They're the ones making you work 40 days straight versus the guys that are a little more chill, and the ones you want to go have a beer with every night, but maybe a little less intense on the golf course. Every person that I've worked for has been an open book, a great superintendent, and just learning from all of them has really helped mold me who I am today.
That's huge. Yeah, and you can take so much good, and you can learn from the bad side too, right? There's so many different qualities people have. They don't even notice that they're teaching you things when stuff's happening. So I love that you talk that way. The one thing I wanted to ask you kind of about growing up or moving through your turf career was, what was that sort of, call it, aha moment where you're like, this isn't just a job anymore. This is going to be my career. This is what I want to do the rest of my life.
Good question. It's actually a funny story. So I was at Washington State University, and they had a little 9-hole golf course that they were basically shutting down to begin construction on a new 18-hole golf course called Palouse Ridge, which was also very fun to be a part of when I was working there, the construction side. But before that started, the golf course had basically ran down to nothing. And there was sticks in the cups with beer cans, and just barely it wasn't maintained. But me and my buddies would go out and play at night, and we got up to this vantage point one night or one evening, just having fun playing golf, and there's the rolling hills of the Palouse. It was just like this crazy vantage point. It's actually, you can't see it, but that's actually number 10 at Palouse Ridge behind me on the wall. That's the view that I had when I was just like, had this aha moment. Is like, hey, I love being on a golf course. and this is what I want to do for a living. And so the rest, kind of followed there. But it wasn't anything more than just a realization that, hey, I enjoy what I do for a living, and I'm passionate about it. And I mean, you guys can agree, there's not much better than waking up and going to a golf course every morning.
It's the best.
Depends what time. Yeah, depends what time. But yeah, no. It's always rewarding once you're able to pull yourself out of bed and go. But
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. And he says it with a smile on his face too. You talk about,
Yeah.
working on the golf course or that being your career and you have a big grin on your face. I love that. You can tell you're very passionate about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So were you originally enrolled in turf when you enrolled at Washington State, or where'd you start out as?
I actually started out as a construction management
Okay.
major. My dad was in construction. He was a finished carpenter, so I was obviously very attracted to that industry too. And full disclosure, at my home course, my boss is like old boss was like a father figure, but pretty old school guy. I didn't know that turf degrees were real. Like I didn't know that was a thing until I got to school. So it was not even really on my radar until I got to school. And once I kind of learned it was a possibility, then move forward with it.
So then did you spend some time, you said you worked at Palouse during some of the renovation there when they were, I guess, rebuilding the new golf course?
Yeah, so they started construction and hiring guys on for the grow-in after the front nine was complete, and so the back nine was still under construction. And yeah, that was a good time. That was when I first started meeting peers in the industry, some buddies that ended up being in college schoolmates in the program together, and we all worked on the golf course. One of them, Nick, actually still we work together at Sandpoint now. He's our assistant equipment manager, but we were a smaller program, tight knit group, but got along really well, and it was fun, kind of doing the school, going to work at the golf course, just kind of juggling all that.
Just get me thinking here. This guy's grown up on the golf course. He's played a lot of golf, probably a bit of a stick. Would you not be a good candidate for a super scratch tournament?
100%.
I'm not a stick.
Oh no, just
I'd
enjoy
love
the
to
game.
play, but
Yeah.
no, I'm batting it around a 8 handicap.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
So,
that's a great spot to be.
yeah.
At every 8 handicap that I play with, it's like they can go out and shoot 76 or 88, but they're always good for a bunch of pars. Like that's,
Yeah. Helpful in a
I
scramble.
love it. Yeah, because the game's in there, right? The game's in there. There's
The
no
shots are
question
there.
about it.
Yeah.
You remember how to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. If the putter gets hot, you hit all your drives. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's awesome. So that construction background, that experience at Palouse, I mean, did that was that beneficial for you, serve you well when you got to Sandpoint and they started that construction there? Did it bring back some memories and like, oh yeah, we know what we're doing. This is old hat now.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely no. I was when I was at Palouse Ridge, I was like trying to stabilize, hydroseed on hillsides and stuff like that. Like I was definitely not, super into the grading and the construction and stuff like that. But I think more than anything, the exposure of just knowing the chaos that could ensue was a big take home for me there.
Sure.
I think what really prepared me for Sandpoint and the renovation and built a new maintenance facility was all of my experiences, and along the way just like learning that you don't necessarily need to be the expert in every single field. You just need to be able to find the answers, and there's a method to the madness. Like if you're organized and prepared, calm, cool, collective, with all these different things going on, you can navigate pretty much anything. And so, whether it's hosting a major championship or, I was at one of the clubs, we did some renovation work, or I was part of a new clubhouse remodel at another course. All those different experiences, I've used this analogy before, but it's kind of like you're just juggling balls. And if you're good at juggling as many as you can without dropping them, you can pretty much get through anything.
You're a guy with
Great
a lot
answer.
of clubs in his bag.
That's a great answer.
So something like I've never played any golf out in that neck of the woods, but when I lived in Alaska and played hockey there, we had to fly through Seattle SeaTac all the time. That was the only way in and out of Anchorage. And it was always raining there. It was always raining at that airport. It was crazy. So I couldn't imagine, taking care of a golf course and having to deal with the rains. What's that like?
It's kind of interesting. So we get a lot of rain. Our reputation is accurate, but it's primarily through the months of like October through April. We get some spring showers in May and June, but we'll go 60 to 90 days without any measurable precipitation and have to rely on our system.
Hmm.
That being said, the name of the game in the Pacific Northwest is moving water and drainage and being persistent with your cultural practices, aerating, sanding, whatever you can do to just move the water from the primary playing surface to somewhere else.
What are the challenges from, disease pressure, pests, that kind of stuff?
Our number one is pink snow mold, 40 to 60 degrees and rainy.
Yeah.
We see
Yeah.
that about, 8 months out of the year, 9 months out of the year. And then, we will go from like really wet and to really hot all of a sudden. So, we always got to keep Pythium on our radar during those transitions. We do get the patch diseases, summer patch, those types of issues. And then probably the newer phenomenons is we're starting to get some more bugs migrating into the area. This is my first time ever having to deal with bill bugs. And then some of the nematodes are starting to poke their head. Guys in the area are starting to be more aware of sampling for nematodes. But yeah, I mean, it's probably like any region that, once you kind of get to know your parameters and your stresses, you can navigate it and plan for it. Our game, going back to the rain, the biggest thing is just you got to be ready to pull the trigger at a moment's notice. Because like for example, this week we're verticutting fairways, we were dry jacking greens and approaches, we ended up aerifying tees, but we had 2 days with that. Basically, we got shut down for rain. Like we had a thunderstorm roll in, and you can't do much of that. So, but now it's beautiful, 60 degrees and sunny, and it's Friday. Guys worked a long day, long week, but it's like, hey, let's knock out 9 more tees, and just to kind of remain persistent before next week. And so before I got on this call with you guys, I was actually getting my steps in, walking backwards on the aerifier.
Oh yeah.
That's a joy.
The old backwards marathon.
Yeah, I like it, man. I don't get out on the course nearly as much as I'd like to in terms of like working. So when I can, like, give me an airifier, give me a chainsaw, give me something that I can just like not listen to the radio and, not have to look at emails. I just want to kind of zone out.
Yeah, get a little sweat on like that.
Yeah.
You find yourself doing a lot of the administrative stuff, not able to get onto the golf course as much as you'd like to these days.
We're a multi-million-dollar operation, annual operation. And, I think my job is to just make sure the resources are ready to rock and roll. No delays on anything. We want to make sure that our team has all the resources at their disposal at a minute's notice. And so, kind of planning for that. In a country club setting, it's very important to be a proactive communicator, and just you never know. Like as you guys know, as superintendents, you wear a lot of different hats. Things are freeing back up for me a little bit. I was very involved with our recent maintenance facility that we finished construction and moved into this last August.
Looks like a pretty nice office you're in there. Nice and fresh.
Yeah, it worked out pretty good. We're if it was the old shop, I'd probably have 8 layers on because we have no climate control and just already on.
Did you see the new maintenance facility kind of boost morale and lead to more efficiency out on the golf course?
Yeah. I don't think we've realized it all yet, but it's been an absolute game changer. The guys, you could just tell they're happier, more comfortable, more proud. And we did a good job of, we prioritized taking care of them. The club made it a point to make sure that they had the care for like a solid home base to come back to, because as you guys know, working in the elements, there's nothing more cruddy than, spending all day working out in the rain, hanging up your rain gear and then coming back same day or next day and putting on that same wet rain gear
Yeah.
and back out. And so we, put a big emphasis on our drying room. I honestly, I not to brag or boast, but I put our locker room up against like most in the country. Just like it's
Nice.
pretty
Nice. I
sweet,
like that.
and the guys love it. Um, yeah, it's been great.
Did you do a ton of research and visit other facilities and have a lot of say in how it was built and the structure and the flow of everything?
There's a handful of clubs in the area that have shops that have been built, post 2000. So they were a great like baseline for kind of just. I mean, I knew what we needed, but the big one was understanding the square footage allocation. Like we were capped at how big we can build. So of that pie, how do we divide up how much goes to admin versus how much goes to equipment maintenance versus overall equipment storage? And there was a pretty consistent theme amongst those shops that I looked at. And then I would say the other big advantage for designing was our architect. We used Rogers McKeag out of Connecticut. And I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they are very involved in country club architecture. Their main go-to is clubhouse restoration. They do a lot of the old clubs in the Northeast, but they also, have a pretty solid maintenance facility portfolio, which was honestly a godsend during the design phase because I'd be getting asked questions about utilities or how much BTUs do you need here, and I'm like, I have no idea. Would you do it? you know
Well, it sounds like it
so
was time for a new one too. The old one was 100 years old. Are you guys planning anything fun for the centennial year?
I'm not sure yet. I know there's going to be festivities to come. We have a very social club. I think we're going to be doing a lot of celebrating, but I don't know exactly what we're doing. They're from like a long range planning standpoint. They're really focused in on uh, clubhouse remodel, and that's kind of they're gearing that. It's kind of in conjunction with kicking off the centennial is redoing the clubhouse. I think they're going to take our old building and convert it to some member use space. Believe it or not, for all the things that was bad about our old shop, I probably had the best view at the entire club. It was just perched in the parking lot, corner office, looking over the lake. So I think it getting converted to some member use will be pretty good.
I like how you convinced them to rebuild the shop before doing the clubhouse. That's awesome.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a tribute to the groundwork that was laid before me. The master plan that we did actually completely blew up and relocated uh, one of our par threes to clear space on the property for the new shop. So they went ahead and pushed forward with that. And then there was this chunk of land that obviously needed a shop built on it. So
Got to do something.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you talked about the close knit relationships with a lot of your peers from turf school and that. So talk about kind of how your network of peers has developed over time and the role that those people play in your career.
It's kind of the evolution of it all, right? So that same group that I started out with at WSU, we went to our first show, GIS show in Orlando, I think in like 2008, and didn't really know what the heck was going on, overwhelmed by the trade show floor. And then you go to it all started for me at our regional night where you go to the chapter breakout rooms, and a couple superintendents took me under their wing and kind of gave me some advice and just, hey, put that name tag on and go shake hands. And so from there, I got to know all the assistants at the clubs in the area. And next thing you know, you're meeting the superintendents. And as a student, you're pretty intimidated, to approach all the bigwig supers. But at the same time, those are the guys that I wanted to listen to most, right? And so even just being a fly on the wall, listening to a conversation, over time, that just kind of snowballs into a relationship. And hey, good to see you again. And now those same guys that I was spying on as a college student, I'm good buddies with because they're still all at the same clubs and I'm just down the road. And I think, that's probably one of the coolest things about our industry is that network. You would like to think that we're competitors, working at different companies, but that's really not the case. Like we're helping out, we're giving advice, we're sharing from mistakes, we're giving heads up, we're, relishing in successes together. And I think that's probably what's so valuable. I mean, even like one of the clubs down the road needed to come borrow something, or even just this week. It's like, absolutely no problem. So, they do the same for me. And, that network just is super valuable. And I've relied on it throughout my career, and I know I will continue to do it. That it's just that helping hand that people are willing to lend is just probably one of the best things about our industry.
Yeah, so expand upon that a little bit, but talk about tournaments because it's not just the network in your local area, but being able to travel and meet other people really expands things a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, my network kind of exploded when I took off down to Monterey after college. I started as a AIT at Spanish Bay, working for Jeff Steen, which is kind of funny that I'm following Bubba Wright's podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is good.
I was
Back
like,
to
man,
back.
I was at Pebble with Bubba down there, and I'm like, man, that's a tough act to follow. But Bubba's this corporate golf machine now. There's no way I'm gonna, live up to that podcast.
Yeah.
We're rolling through the Steen tree right now. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that was crazy. Like I was still working at Spanish Bay when I went over and helped out for the Open, but I got to know all all the interns down there. And Monterey is a pretty special place. Like there's not much going on down there other than golf. And so, and it was a pretty crazy life move for me. I went down there not knowing anybody. And so you'd start developing friendships, and ironically enough, all my friends are the guys that work at other golf courses. And so next thing
Yeah.
you know, we got a softball team and we're hanging out on the weekends. And so, a lot of those friendships have lasted throughout the years. And you can just see like that's, those big tournaments, like you mentioned, Adam, like bring everybody together. Like the US Open at 2010, I mean, there was 100 plus volunteers. And as you know, at all these places, and, a lot of it's like a reunion for a lot of people, and a lot of it's an opportunity to make new friends. And, it's fun. It's a good time.
I don't know if we've had anybody on the show that hasn't enjoyed working at a tournament. When you look
Yeah.
at it on paper and what you're actually going to do, like here's your itinerary for the week, a lot of people will be like, wait a minute, this doesn't look like I'm getting much sleep here or anything. So
Yeah.
it's just so cool how people enjoy it so much. And it's so good for your career too.
Yeah. I would definitely recommend, um, going and just seeing that, like, even if it's just a volunteer. Like, again, like I wasn't like a pivotal piece of that US Open. I was more volunteer, just helping out. But, flash forward to 2016, I hosted the women's PGA championship at Sahali. And, that's one of their biggest majors. And, as you guys know, it's, you don't prepare for it any differently. And so and we didn't have 100 volunteers, but we had 50. And so I kind of just knew what to expect, with infrastructure moving in, volunteer coordination. Pebble Beach is a class act company. They take great care of their volunteers. So I already had a blueprint, to follow off of. Not to mention Tom Hughesgen used to work down at Pebble too. So, um, you know, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is I wasn't caught off guard by all the chaos of 2016 because I had already seen that before. And so I think that's like just beneficial for anybody to just, you may not have to be the main guy doing this stuff, but just getting your neck out there, checking it out. Even like I like to go down the road, and if one of my buddies has a renovation going on, just go peek my head in there and check it out and see, what kind of challenges they're faced with. Believe it or not, I just went down the Lumen Field where the Seahawks play. They converted that to turf for FIFA. I'm buddies with the guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the beam, and that was a trip, man. Just like they basically buried the existing field with like $4 million worth of infrastructure just to rip it out in a couple months.
Yeah, the big roll sod. Yeah, that's insane. You said when you went down to take the job at Spanish Bay, have no experience, no relationships, all that kind of stuff. How much of a leap of faith was that for you? And how nerve-wracking was that for you?
Yeah, it's funny because like when I was in college getting ready to graduate, it was nothing but like excitement. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go, get out of here, and Pebble Beach Company, here we come. And then, I pack up my truck and my U-Haul and I start the truck. I'm like, oh crap, it's actually happening now. It was a really emotional time, like leaving everything that I know for something that I'm definitely passionate about, but I really had no idea what I was getting myself into. I mean, it was a huge career move. I'm even getting emotional thinking about it. It's just like it was even almost a better just personal move. Just you learn a lot about yourself when you don't know anybody. You got to kind of like really dive into like, okay, what am I all about? Who am I? And then at the same time, Blockbuster has 3 for $5 DVDs for sale. And so you watch a lot of movies until you start making friends.
We just lost half the audience right there. They have no clue what a DVD is.
Yeah.
So.
Hang on a second. You went where?
Yeah. Right.
Nothing's 3 for $5 anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, no kidding.
We are back with another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring PhD agronomist Tony Goldsby from the Andersons. And today we're doing something a little bit different. Instead of taking a question from the community, I have actually asked Tony if he wants to have his own little teaching segment because usually he doesn't really know what's coming at him. So to be able to prepare and have a little bit of a talk for us today, I thought would be pretty nice. So Tony wants to talk about how grasses handle shade. Take it away, sir.
Awesome, Adam. Well, thanks again for having me on the show this week, and always, fun to get end user submissions and questions, but also fun to, bring up a topic that, was near and dear to my heart and working with, different types of tolerances and stress tolerances during my PhD work. And, one of those, I think, aha moments for me when I was kind of going through my graduate studies and getting ready for my prelim exams was the topic that we'll talk about this week, and that was, how grasses actually handle shade. And for the easiest way to kind of understand that is, the difference between light compensation point and then what you call light saturation point. And, to start with light compensation point, that's the minimum amount of light that your turf grass is going to need just to make, enough food, if you will, to equal the amount of respiration that it's doing and expiring that food, right? So that's kind of like your, bare minimum money in the bank. If you're, looking at your bank account, hey, I got to stay at zero, right? The amount of, food that you need or dollars in the bank to stay at zero is that compensation point right before it draws down. And below that, literally your turf obviously is expending more energy than it's able to produce for itself. So when you think about shade tolerant grasses like cool season grasses, they tend to have a lower compensation point, right? So that means they can survive with that less light condition. They can kick in photosynthesis at a lot lower level and therefore, be happier in those shade, situations. And if you flip that on the warm season side, that's why we have so much struggle, right? Is because they don't have a great low compensation point. But they do have some advantages when we talk about the next piece, which is saturation point, right? So kind of looking on the other end of that, when you're looking at saturation point, that's the level where if you add, more light, no longer are you going to be increasing photosynthesis, no matter how much more light you give to it, right? So again, a lot of those cool season grasses out in the wide open, there's a point where it's like, hey, we can't even do anything more with this added PAR, right? It's kind of tapped out of the system. And when you think about shade adapted species and often how they saturate at lower light level light too, they're really built to maximize those limited morning or filtered light windows where, again, like I said, a warm season Bermuda grass or zoysia grass is just not going to do very well when it's trying to get its daily requirements of PAR and it's in some of those scenarios. So I think for me it was just, again, a big aha moment why for superintendents it's really critical that you put the right species in the right spot, right? So species selection, you're going to struggle probably always if you're trying to get a lot of zoysia grass or, Bermuda grass under your treeways on, warm season grass areas or vice versa, right? If you're trying to, get a cool season to withstand, really high sunlight and, really damaging, heat. You think about some of the Arizona areas where Bermuda grass thrives, right? We would never be able to try to get a cool season there. So, it's always less about can grass grow in the shade and more about, can we stay in that positive energy balance, right? And that positive energy balance is so important, right? Because anytime our grass has to recover from traffic or stress or anything like that, that's where it's tapping into. And if we're constantly leaving it on the edge of, being out of money, it's going to be pretty hard. So pretty cool topic. And again, I think if you can understand just, slightly light saturation versus light compensation and how it impacts your species selection, it'll make it a little bit easier to manage shade and maybe some of the cultural things you have to do around it.
Awesome, Tony. Thank you so much for that. And it's another example of how many different things are going on the golf course without even people realizing, right? You're talking there, I was thinking about all the spots on our course and everything, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it's such a science. There's so many different levels to this game. It's so cool. This wraps up another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring Dr. Tony Goldsby from the Andersons.
So, you took that move, and then just talk about the thought process of then continuing on and bouncing to different courses.
I think my primary interest was chasing new experiences, unique experiences. I mean, you can pretty much grow grass at any course, and most of them do it very well. But, if there's an opportunity to do a renovation or something unique, that was kind of what triggered my ears or perked my ears and perked my interest. And obviously the superintendent was another big part of it. It was almost like kind of like interviewing the superintendent and like knowing like, hey, I want to be you. Like, so like, can I come learn from you? And so fortunately all the superintendents I've worked for have paved that road. So basically that roadmap that I've had is I left the Pebble Company to return home to Overlake Country Club that was doing a remodel. Like they were doing some renovation work and I had never been exposed to that. And so that was a great experience. And then I went to Whitehorse Golf Club, and that was unique because it was going from like one of the highest budgets in the state and a room full of assistants to a lower budget. But I was the primary first assistant. So like that was an autonomy based decision that, really helped me, really start learning how to manage resources. And then also they were building a new clubhouse. And it was like, well, that's pretty cool. I've never been around that. And so again, that's just something unique to be a part of. And then Sahalee was kind of the culmination of everything. It was the first assistant job at a 27-hole facility with a lot going on. And it kind of just allowed me to exercise everything that I had learned up to that point.
Tell us about the course you said it was member maintained or was member ran?
Yeah. So I did a study abroad in the UK for part of our Wazoo program. Wazoo, Washington State, go Cougs. So if I use those references, that's what it is. But it was awesome. It was our advisor, Dr. Johnson, was buddies with the North Carolina State guy, and so together they're basically planned a buddy trip to the UK, and we looked at everything turf. And so the two programs set out for 10 days and looked at lawn bowling, cricket pitches, horse tracks, golf courses, obviously. We went to Hoylake, toured that with the superintendent, went to St. Andrews, toured that with the superintendent, got to play some golf along the way. And one of the places that we played golf was in Wales. And I don't know, founded in 17 something, it's up in the hills overlooking the lake or the ocean, and it's member maintained. And it, as you can imagine, member maintained is very minimal maintenance.
Get to it tomorrow.
But probably the coolest thing about that whole place is they had 2-foot electric fences around all the greens so that the goats wouldn't walk across the greens.
Nice.
So you'd hit onto the green and then you'd step over and you'd finish your putt and go on to the next hole. But it was just, the setting was something spectacular, and we were having a blast. I was me and one of my good buddies, who's actually our Helena vendor now, so we're still very close. And I feel bad for not remembering his name, but the head professor at North Carolina State, and we're playing, and we could see this thunderstorm kind of coming in over the mountains. Like we're way up in the mountain, and you know it's there, but you're like, this is only a 9-hole course. We'll get there before it passes.
We'll be fine.
Yeah. And we get to like hole 6, and it's like you're starting to see lightning a little closer, but it is like just the ultimate coolest golf experience. Like and we get to hole 7, and it's starting to piss rain, and the thunder's getting closer, and it was about halfway through that hole, the NC State guy's like, screw this, I'm out of here. And like he goes back to the clubhouse. Yeah, and me and my other buddy were young and dumb enough, to be like, you know what, man, if this is how we go, this is how we go.
Oh man.
Finished the 9 and called it a day after that. But those experiences like that are some of my favorite. I'm not, I've played some really nice high-end courses, but I think some of the unique experiences, the unique clubs like that are just as cool, if not better.
Oh yeah, there's so many little hidden gems out there like that. It's that's a lot of fun to tackle those.
Did you guys ever make it out to the sheep ranch before it was the sheep ranch by chance at Bannon?
No.
That was a good one. That was another similar one. It was just barely maintained. You go out there I've been out there with a group of superintendents one time, and you just drop a ball on the ground and let's go to that green. And
that's cool.
Spend all day out there by yourselves. It's cool. So
that'd be a blast.
Before we go any further, we have to talk about Apex 10 by Green Nature. Every season brings new pressure, tighter windows, tougher conditions, higher expectations. That's where Apex 10 from Green Nature steps in. Designed to support plant health and maximize performance, Apex 10 helps your turf stay strong, resilient, and ready for whatever comes next. Whether you're managing stress, pushing recovery, or dialing in consistency, Apex 10 is built to deliver. Because in this industry, there are no off days, only opportunities to be better. To learn more and reach out with your questions, follow them on Instagram at Apex10Life.
You talked about Jeff and Tom and just a lot of the guys that you've come up through, and they've done a great job of developing young people into great superintendents. Is that now something you're striving to do and working with your assistants and training them up, and kind of how are you doing that? How are you preparing them for the next step?
I feel like I'm in a unique role because I'm fresh out of being an assistant too. So I can't say I really can relate to the new 23-year-olds coming out of college. It feels like yesterday that I was still an assistant, and so I do place a lot of emphasis on training and developing the guys. It's I was very fortunate that all of the people that I worked for were an open book. So anything that they wanted to look at, be a part of, they're more than welcome to. There was no hidden agenda, and I try and mimic that same thing. And I think probably the hardest thing, but the most valuable thing for me is, delegation. Like it's hard to let go of some things, but you got to put yourself in the assistant's shoe of like, they want to be fed, they want that responsibility, they want to learn, they want to grow. And if you're locking up all of those responsibilities and not, sharing some of that experience, it makes it hard for people to grow and advance. And so, at Sandpoint and most clubs, there's enough to go around to just, allow people to have autonomy, and just really, it's a combination of identifying, where their growth opportunities are. Like they may have had a lot of experience in one aspect at a different club, and now it's time to focus more on this before they move on to the next step. But yeah, I think I look at it as a collaboration in terms of, hey, what do you need out of me to get you to where you want to be? And obviously we know what the expectation is for our day to day, and we try and find a way to juggle our obligations and responsibilities with growth opportunities.
Well, you have so much experience behind you. Seem like you got a good head on your shoulders. So I'm sure anybody that comes to work for you or you're able to, help out along the way is really going to be beneficial. And it sounds like you have a lot of fun too. And that's a huge thing for a superintendent. You talk about a lot of the guys you worked for were very open and honest, and you can joke with and have fun. And I think that's very important to just be kind of somebody that's there for your staff. You're trusting them to do a lot of different things out there, and if you're just breathing down their neck all the time, it makes it tough. So that is a really good quality you have, and you're going to be able to pass that on. I have to ask you about this story here before we finish. During COVID, you had something happen on the golf course?
COVID was wild for us, or for me in a lot of ways. I think it was crazy for everybody. But so we started our course remodel in the fall of 2019, and with the anticipated opening date of sometime in April of May of 2020. And so we're humming along, and obviously the world shuts down in April of 2020, and we go to this. We basically construction stops. We're close, but we're still growing in and stuff like that. And then on part of that too is my firstborn son was born on April 2nd of 2020. And so I'm in like the hospital, like not obviously going to the golf course as much as I can. COVID's going on, all that jazz. And so I'm just going back to the golf course, a lot more intermittently, right? And a lot of times you're out there by yourself versus, as a normal superintendent, you're looking at the golf course on a daily basis. And, anything that might be abnormal is normal because it isn't changing that much. But when you're going to the golf course, maybe once every 3 days, it's like, oh, what's going on over here, right? Well, the method for our bunker liner was sod. So I don't know if you're familiar with that, but we basically, excavate the bunkers, put the sod in, establish it, and then when the time comes, you spray it out with Roundup, and then then it's ready to put sand on top. It's dead grass. Well, I conveniently showed up in one of my intermittent visits to the golf course, and hey, the bunkers are dying out. That looks good. They're yellow. And then I'm looking over at the greens. Like, man, those are pretty yellow too.
Oh no.
My heart just starts pumping, right? And like, I'm like, oh crap, what happened? Did they forget to wash the sprayer out or something, And nobody's there because it's COVID, right? Like we're like doing like, I think we had one of our assistants, Mike, was on some part of the property. And so I finally was able to track him down and start talking to him. But in the meantime, my heart's pumping. I'm like, man, I'm going to get fired before I even open this golf course up.
Yeah, but the bunkers look nice though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's dead grass in the bunkers, right? It ended up just being, overregulation from our proxy applications, and it was all good.
Nice.
But it was like, oh man, it was scary. But it's like, it was kind of funny, like with that, that questionnaire, when you're like, what are some of the funniest stories from the golf course? It almost all of them seem to be like my mistakes that I learned from, or like,
Yeah.
the close calls that I got away with.
That's how you improve, right? You make mistakes, you laugh about it, you learn from it, and you go on, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't, if I would have killed all the grass with Roundup, I don't know if I would have been laughing about it quite as much, but
Yeah. Yeah. It's accurate.
That'd be a lesson learned though. It's,
for sure.
stuff kills everything.
Sure.
That's Keith's saying, right? There are two superintendents, those that have killed grass and those that are going to kill grass. So
Yeah,
it's okay. Awesome. Well, Marcus, this has been great. We're coming up on an hour here. We usually like to give a little bit of time at the end just to kind of let you talk about anything you want to talk about.
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you for having me. This is a treat. I've enjoyed listening to your guys' podcasts and following you on Instagram. And so keep doing what you're doing. So thank you. I'd be remiss not to put on my Superintendents Association hat for a quick second. And I'd like to put a plug in about the First Green program. For those that don't know, it's an opportunity to host educational field trips on the golf course. It was actually founded up in Seattle by one of my mentors, Steve Keeley, out at Glendale Country Club. I had the pleasure of working for him, and he's been the pioneer of this. Him and Jeff Gullickson since its infancy, and it's pretty cool how it's expanded all the way, to a national program adopted by the GCSAA. And I think the only plug that I want to say is, like, don't be intimidated. It's actually super easy and very rewarding. I've now got a partnership with a 4th grade class. They come out once a year to our chipping green. We set up a couple of stations looking at soil and, cup cutters, and they love it. We love it. The members love it. It's just a fantastic way to introduce young people to the game and grow the game. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to hit me up, hit Steve up, hit anybody up. It's a great program that we'd love to see continue to grow.
I've been a part of 2 or 3 of them, and I agree. I mean, probably the most rewarding experience I've had on a golf course was being involved with those and seeing the kids' eyes kind of light up and, whoa, really? But the thing I thought was most interesting out of that was the response from the teachers and the parent volunteers that are there to help. Like they're always blown away too. Like, I had no idea about any of this. That was always cool for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I don't even have to solicit asking if they're going to come back. Like they're always beat me to the punch, excited to come back with the kids. And I mean, anytime,
cool.
You guys know, I've said this before, being on the golf course is one of the best things to do, one of the best places to be. So, they're excited to come, and, we're happy to host.
That's good. You got a pipeline then of crew members then for summer help here in a couple of years,
When you're 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a 4th grade class, so they got a couple more years.
Yeah.
Just a couple of years. That's okay. Just, keep engaging them. It's just like college recruiting. Just reach out to them every now and then, let them know, when the time comes, we're here for you.
Get a group chat started. You got them hooked.
That's it.
You got them hooked. No, you're 100% right, dude. The golf course is one of the best places for the kids, and I talked to all my buddies and stuff that never golfed or never got to see a golf course as kids. It's one of those places that they need to be. My kids enjoy the golf course so much, and to get more of them out there, just understanding that this is more than just a place to play sports. There's so much going on here. I think is so important. So it's a great plug, and more people can get involved in that. That'd be very, very good for our industry.
Yeah, it's a great program.
Agreed.
Cool. Well, Marcus, this has been great. Appreciate all your time and great insight today. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, you as well, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, buddy. This episode, so we just did 2 episodes. So we did Bubba, and then we did a guy from the PGA radio. So don't worry, you don't have to follow Bubba, but you do have to follow a radio host. So I don't know which one you want to pick there, but yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
Awesome.
Great job today, brother.
Thanks. Take care.
All right, thanks. Take it easy.
Hey, thank you for listening to the Turf Today podcast. My name is Michael with Steiner Golf Company, and we know that spring isn't just a season. It is go time. It is time to get your course dialed in, ready for everything the season has to bring. Whether that's early tee times, member play, public play, outings, and tournaments, that is where Steiner Golf comes in. We are here to help with everything you need to get your course looking the best this upcoming year. From brand new flags, flag sticks, tee markers, bunker rakes, cups, hole cutters, and everything in between. Because when the golfers show up, first impressions always matter. So this spring, open your course and set the standard for some awesome accessories. Now back to Turf Today.
You did an awesome job.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt so stupid asking him about the rain. Yeah, it rained every time I was there in the winter. Yeah. Well, our rain season is during the winter. So that makes sense. But to think you have rain all winter and then all of a sudden just 90 days of no rain is challenging.
Yeah. I mean, he started talking a lot about the climate and, then the disease issue, the pink snow mold. I'm like, man, he's got to feel like he's in Monterey, California all over again. I mean, that's one of the big things. I know they fight in that area all the time too. It was the pink snow mold. So
Well, when
familiar.
we've spent some time in California, and people always talk about going up to the Pacific Northwest for golf. There's so many different properties up there. Have you been that far up?
No, I'm actually talking to Anne Marie about that being one of our stops for the summer, heading up that way.
There you go.
So
Cool.
So we've got to list the places that would be good to visit. It'd
be fun to check out some of those areas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't that that's where Bandon is, right?
Bandon's in Oregon.
Okay.
Pacific Northwest. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not too far. I think Seattle is probably a little more than 6 hours from Bannon, if I remember correctly. Maybe longer. I don't know. I've been to Seattle once. I take that back, but it was like I was a kid. I think I was probably like 10 years old, 11 years old. So it's been quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've only ever been out there just flying around, stopping in at
Just
that
flying
airport.
through, huh?
Yeah.
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 No. I
Yeah,
mean, we
you get to see it.
spent a lot of time in Vancouver and Victoria and stuff as a kid and for hockey, but never golfed out that way.
Yeah.
You know, I remember we were down at the show last year and I met a couple people that were in from Alaska. The guy was a superintendent up in Anchorage, which is unbelievable that they actually have golf
Yeah.
up there. But it's, they have the summer where it's full light, right? So you could golf in the middle of
Yeah.
the night and the sun would still be up. So it does make sense that there's golf courses.
Yeah. Oh,
It's just,
absolutely.
but different challenges. And we only spent the winters up there. So to get to experience something like that, would be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a place you're talking about. We used to have, it was 4 hour difference. So the 7 o'clock hockey games were coming on at 3. So you could watch, 3 games a night. The problem used to be though, we would sit down late night to watch TV or something like that after our games or after we did something, and there'd be nothing on because it was the middle of the night
Yeah.
everywhere else. Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, what a
yeah.
cool
First
place.
world problems.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That was a fun spot. I don't know if I'll ever be visiting that place for golf again, but I would love to take my family back up there during the winter just to do some of the
Yeah.
stuff that we got to do while we were there. Very, very
Yeah.
unique place.
Yeah. No, my kids are dying. They want to go up that way at some point. So do all the outdoorsy activities up there and just hang out in the mountains, that kind of stuff.
We don't talk about too many losses in our industry. Maybe we should highlight more of them. But in our area here, we woke up to news the other day that we lost Chris Hewitt, who was a superintendent here in Ottawa. Father, husband, younger guy.
Mm.
Been working at a few different courses throughout the city, so we had a lot of people that worked for him, and enjoyed his time. He was a great guy, and sometimes it's just tough,
Yeah.
make one wrong turn or make one wrong decision or have a tough day or something like that, and it's
Yeah.
tough. So I feel bad for his family and for the golf course and the community and everything. It's always tough losing somebody like that, but we just, now that we've dug into this so much with superintendents and the kind of people they are, and how selfless people can be, and really just put their heart and soul into a community and a golf course and their crew and their family, and it takes a special person. So when you lose somebody like that, it is hard. And to everybody who has lost a superintendent or somebody that they've worked with on the golf course, it's not easy. And to Chris's family and the Canadian Golf and Country Club, where thoughts and prayers are definitely with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. That's tough to hear.
Yeah, doesn't get any easier. That's for sure. But
No.
and a very tough time of year too. Like, they were just taking their covers off their greens and getting ready to start the season and
Yeah.
everything. So I know that's the least of their family's worries and everything, but it's very,
Yeah.
very unfortunate.
Well, like you said, I mean, just such a close-knit community. I'm sure they'll have plenty of support from the area and people that are going to be willing to come out and help. So, yeah, but like you said, I mean, there's never a good time. Never a
No.
good time when someone's got a young family and all that. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, yeah. It is really nice to see everything that the golf course is doing. And I think you do kind of see that a little bit in the golf industry when somebody does pass, or, an older member or somebody who's worked at a course for a long time. There's always a really good tribute, or there's, donations made to the family and things like that. And, you're seeing that here in this case. So that's always something that's really helpful in these times.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we don't want to end with any bad juju or bad news. I wanted to point out, we didn't tell him. Did you see his assistant come in and close that pocket door mid-interview?
Yeah, I did.
That was awesome. I was thinking like brand new shop and everything.
Yeah,
He went to close the door and I thought he was going to hit a button and the door was going to close. I was like, is he actually going to close this door with a button right now? Like, I get it. It's a new shop. And then he just kind of closes the pocket door all quiet. And I was like, oh.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, man, the guys are coming in. They're trying to eat lunch and it's peace and quiet.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
guy's here doing a podcast.
Doing a meeting. We're out there busting our balls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. And turn that air fryer over to someone else, and he gets to go and sit in a nice, comfy office.
Yeah, definitely.
Funny.
I'm going out to the Hunt Club soon to see Bobby Cook. He took over as superintendent after Eric Ruse moved on. I guess he didn't actually move on, but he retired. He's been there a long time, but he's going to be on a little bit more. He was just down at Augusta volunteering, but Bobby's taking the job full time. They built their new shop last year, so they kind of have a state-of-the-art tournament shop as well. So I'm going to see Bobby soon. I cannot wait to see that. I saw some pictures of it, and it just sounds like unbelievable.
I love getting in and seeing new facilities. They're so cool, and guys are so creative in what they come up with just to make things so much more efficient. And definitely, the end result, you would never think of a new maintenance shop leading to improved conditions on a golf course, but man, they really can. Once that the employee morale takes that step up just from having comfortable place, just like Marcus was talking about, the guys have somewhere nice to go to now. I mean, just the impact that has overall is it's immeasurable.
Yeah. And one of the things these guys did is they moved the shop to a good location on the golf course that was right for everybody. They had 27 holes. Instead of having it in the parking lot by the main entrance of the course, like, let's tuck it behind the first green where you could get to everywhere. And then, now they have this space in the parking lot and everything. So I think you're starting to see that a little bit too. It's not just, well, we need to refinish this building. It's like, well, let's put this somewhere that actually makes sense for everybody.
Yeah. As long as there's land available, that's the only problem.
That's the other thing. Yeah, you got to have the space.
A lot of the older ones don't, they're kind of landlocked, and you're working out of a temp tent for a little while until you can knock it down and build it back up. So
ours is like, at our place, you have to go past our shop to go into the main entrance, and the shop sign's been down for years, right? So people turn in. It's like, no, there's a parking lot with lights, and you can kind of see the practice green. It's up there. You don't need to turn in through the little gate. Like, oh my gosh,
that's great. That's great. All right, man. Well, good job today.
Okay, you too, buddy.
All right, we'll see you.
So much fun to get to hang out with Marcus. That was awesome. We got another great one next week. We got a big dog in the industry. Everybody, keep those reels sharp and get those asses out of those seats.
Pass in the lane, never slow, no change. Came with the flame, put the game to the shame. Brains can't catch me, speed of the sound. Can't get shadow when my work break bounce. Crown is my goal, gotta take it now. You blink and you miss, take this route. Blink and this and 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 body's the blink and this. Fast in the lane, never slow, no chains. Came with the flame, put the game to the shame. Brains can't catch me, speed of the sound. Can't get shadow when my work break bounce. Crown is my goal, gotta take it now. You blink and you miss, take this route. Blink and this and 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 body's the
You still with us? Okay, perfect. We could not decide on a track to end this whole thing with, so you're getting both.
Demons in my head again, let me grip my lyric pen. Fire burning from my junk, choking now I'm pulling stunts. I won't stop, so don't confront too much. A boss to be a grunt. Watch my back and also front. You drop it off, I pick it up. Deep pockets a mean one, heavy like machine guns. Talking like they heard about me, they ain't never seen one. You ain't really bout it, I can see it through the screen, son. Taking lemon lane, busters never try to jump like you want it. My opponent's never on it. I ain't thinking about tomorrow, only thinking about the moment. Feel the rush from the buck jump. 20s in my loaded trunk. Watch me make another hit. Yeah, I'm tripping off that funk jump like you want it. My opponent's never on it. I ain't thinking about tomorrow, only thinking about the moment. Feel the rush from the buck jump. 20s in my loaded trunk. Watch me make another hit. Yeah, I'm tripping. Yeah, I'm tripping. Yeah, I'm tripping. thinking about the moment, feel the